Hi, Marla Diane here from Palos Verdes, California. I am a new advocate for Judgment Detox by Gabrielle Bernstein. And I've got some pretty profound things to share with you today that I aspire for the same for you. And I've become one of the spirit junkie, right? That's her brand, which is Spirit Junkie. And that is helping others, right? Helping others literally heal, choose love, faith, gratitude, appreciation, etc. over fear, which happens to be ego. This particular book absolutely can change your life in profound ways. And Gabby's been a spiritual mentor of mine, not very long, probably about a year. In fact, it took me a little while to warm up to her. But the more that I read her books and the more that I started applying what she had recommended, the more my life would change and the more enlightened I became. So I started with her first book, which for me, this first book was May Cause Miracles. Fantastic. A year ago, read it. Actually, I think longer than a year and a half ago, I read it. And it completely changed my life at that point. Helped me on my spiritual journey, helped me take leaps, and one of them was going to Florence, Italy, changing my life, spending a month there, and so forth. Anyway, May Cause Miracles sits on my bedstand, and I read it every day. Now, Judgment Detox is my favorite. Again, Judgment Detox, okay, is my favorite of all books on spirituality. I had bought it in October 2018, so over, 7 months ago, and I wasn't ready for it. I bought it because I enjoyed her teachings. I was really already seeing, changes in my life, and so I apparently was not ready for that. I put it on the shelf, kind of forgot about it. And then as I started attracting more spiritual life coaching clients in the last few months, I got this intuitive hit to go pull that book off the shelf. And I'm about to explain to you why that was an intuitive hit and why it aligned with everything that I created as an intention this year, which was one, to increase and deepen my spiritual growth. I was ready for the next level, and my heart, my soul, my intuitive guide knew this, and it felt completely right. So I had no idea how this was going to look. I had no idea what was going to be expected of me, but typically when we are directed for a spiritual deepening, it means we need to look at things that need to be healed. And so off I went January of this year with that intention. And part of that intention was also for the first time in my life claiming that I will allow the body, the man, and the money in abundance in my life all at the same time for the first time, instead of settling for one of the three or maybe two of the three and never really having all three be present and healthy and fantastic in my life. So that was the intention going into this year. So now we're looking at May. This is May 2019. And what's happened, right, since picking up her book, which only was a month ago, after I had some challenges in different areas of my life, and I was needing a guide. I was needing tools, spiritual tools. It was starting to be clear to me that, okay, this is part of the spiritual growth that I was requesting, and that's why I was led to Judgment Detox. So I apparently needed tools to heal myself. And at the same time, as I was starting to read the book, I was also recommending it to my spiritual life coaching clients. And they too are evolving. So all at once, right? This is all happening. So you think that's a coincidence? In fact, I've attracted spiritual and life coaching clients, which happens, by the way, to be one of my new 90-day programs. That's not what this sharing is about. But the point is I attracted almost exactly where I have been going through, which is spiritual growth. And I am just in heaven. I am loving supporting my life and spiritual coaching clients who want to be more spiritual, who want to deepen their spirituality, and just supporting them in that process is amazing. So that came out of, right, my intention of wanting to what? Deepen my spirituality. And by the way, I've been on a spiritual path for 23 years. So this is my next level of spiritual perception, spiritual growth, deepening, etc. And so all of this is starting to make a ton of sense to me now. So was that a coincidence, of course, that these, clients are showing up? Apparently not, right? And I'm a big believer in universal law. So if we look around, that saying is, if you look around your life, it's pretty much, you've manifested that by your thoughts, your feelings, right, your intentions. So I am beyond grateful to have some spiritual and life coaching clients, and from here on out, those are that is available to anybody that is interested. So back to Judgment Detox, is that apparently, again, I was the student that was ready, and so the teacher appeared. And in the last month, this has rocked my world in such a good way. And here's how it's changed my life in just a mere 30 days by being committed to the teacher, being committed to the healing that needs to happen. And I'm still in the middle of it. I'm not done with the book, but I am definitely have read a good portion of it. But here's the results so far of 30 days of Judgment Detox. And by the way, let me explain a little bit more. Judgment Detox, what she defines it as, and it's based on this principle, we don't realize to what depth, right, we live in judgment every day of our life. And that judgment, which is ego, versus living in spirit, which is expansion, gratitude, faith, love, trust, right, creativity. It's all that which we have been brought to this earth to be. It's our natural state. And at some point in our life, we have experiences that have caused us to doubt our confidence, our self-esteem, right, etc. That happens to be then where ego enters our life, and it becomes a louder voice in our head than the faith, the trust, the good, etc., the higher vibe way of living. So she bases her teachings on A Course in Miracles, which is essentially teaching you to be aware, to be even more aware of when you're in judgment, when you're in separation from spirit, from good, from abundance, from gratitude, literally a separation, and to return to love, right? Is to be able to catch yourself and return to love, right? Return to that place, that natural place, which is, again, love. And when I say love, I'm talking divine love. I'm talking a relationship with your higher power, relationship with source, with universal, energy. So being able to, in any moment, return to that. And what I found going through this book is that there were so many times I was in self-judgment and judgment of others that it never even occurred to me that's what I was doing. And so, as she writes in here in the beginning, she says, my definition of judgment for this book is pretty straightforward: separation from love. The moment we see ourselves as separate from anyone else, we detour into a false belief system that is out of alignment with our true nature, which is love. Deep down, we're all loving, kind, and compassionate beings. There are many spiritual terms for this truth, such as Buddha, nature, spirit, source, God. Throughout the book, I'll refer to this truthful state as love, right? So again, your higher power connection. Says the separation from love is the force behind everything from playground bullying to racism to terrorism, you name it. Says we are living in divisive times and separation has become the norm. Therein lies then one of my purposes in sharing on this video, and anyone that will listen, about Judgment Detox, is that I think this is a profound work of art that can literally change the world as long as enough people are willing to heal, right? Heal from that place of ego, heal from that place of judgment, and so forth. So please pick up that book, but let me share with you what's happened in my life in 30 days. I'm the happiest I've been more consistently than I have been in years. Is that I've allowed ego, right, to seduce me, seduce my thoughts, take me down the rabbit hole, right, of not feeling enough, of not being able to be capable of certain things. Believe it or not, right? I'm a success coach. I'm a business strategist. I'm a spiritual life coach, and I too, as she shares in this book, which caused her to write the book, that I was in judgment often, right, and not in a place that obviously I could operate at a higher level. So I'm the happiest I've been in years more consistently, right? As I was born with a happy chip in me, it's just part of who I am. But I found over the years with life experiences and things that have happened, little by little, I had a lot of self-abandonment, right? I took myself out of the game. I'm back. I feel fantastic about it because I now have the tools moment by moment to pull me out of, excuse me, to pull me out of that place of ego, right? That place of false separation, right? It's false. We're separated from others. We judge others. We judge ourselves. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So yes, as I now have these tools, and on an instant, I can return back to love, divine love, trust, faith, you name it, and call ego like it is, which is basically trying to take me out of the game, all right, of life. And I no longer go down that rabbit hole. All right. I've manifested several amazing clients in 3 weeks, one after another. And I am so grateful. These are spiritual, they're conscious, they're eager to learn, they're ready for that next level. And this all happened literally one after another, right? All in this time frame of the month that I'm sharing with you. I also manifested, some of you will be happy to hear this, that know me well, is I've manifested I guess you can call it a new relationship with an upstanding man, but no, hold on, everybody. It's still early. We're only on our third date. It's only a month. We'll see, but he definitely is the first of this caliber that I've attracted into my life, and this has been happening over the last month as well. More to come on that when the time is right. Creative ideas are flowing much faster. I'm more open to receiving from, I call divine downloads. They're more regular, they're more constant. And even, this is so cute, even I have a new bird feeder for the last month, a little over a month, that's been sitting on my window, out my office window. And I have put bird seed out there. My sister helped me with it when she was visiting. And for an entire month, there was nothing. In the last week, and even in the last few days, I have got birds everywhere out my window. And I have become, my new role has become obviously a bird seed provider. And there's birds sitting in front of me out my window, eating and singing. And I kid you not, and I'm not trying to be Snow White, the birds are showing up in the last week and even more in the last 2 days. So I'm pretty thrilled about that simple little thing in life, right? So all of this in 1 month, right? And I keep telling myself, all right, thank you, God, keep it coming, right? I'm in that place of faith and trust. Because what I used to do, and see if you relate with this, I used to, okay, this is great, the success, right? Okay, whatever's happening, that's good. And then, but there's that little part of the ego, right, which we also call, those of you that understand Genius Zone and what I coach, which is the Big Leap with Gay Hendricks, is that part of my hidden barrier, my ego, all it is ego, would take me out of the game and go into this thought of, well, when's the next shoe going to drop, right? It's like the success, how long can the success last? That's ego again, right? So let me say this much. Even in times of uncertainty, this is when it's even more important to stay centered and to trust in return to love, return to faith, return to, fill in the blank. So I'm obviously now a believer, even more so, in the power of choosing, right? Divine love over fear, moment by moment. No more separation, no more fear of people, others, you name it, right? And when I do get into that place, I feel it. I feel it in my solar plexus, my stomach area. And it feels like this low vibe. And I immediately shift it. And I used to do that, but not to this degree, right? Judgment Detox has helped me heal the parts of myself that I constantly are in judgment about myself, again, about others. And so I'm really, really conscious of when I'm talking on the phone, right? When I'm seeing people, when I'm, in a place of business, is to make more conscious effort to connect with people, talk to them. Because the bottom line is, and what she teaches and what many spiritual experts teach, is that we're all one, right? We are not separate. We all want the same things. And yet it's our ego, it's our social media driven world of fear and worry and doubt that is causing us to feel separate from others. And we truly are one. And it's interesting, as I remember feeling this way when I was a young girl. And I always felt that everybody was equal. Never saw anybody as better than. And as I got older and I started having experiences that I would start to doubt myself. But I always had this feeling. That everybody was equal. Yet I didn't know how to define it. I didn't understand it until I evolved, and here I am today. And it's like a coming home, right? It's a coming home to yourself, to what's true, because we are spiritual beings having human experience, right? So this is my contribution to the healing of the divisiveness that's happening in our world today, is that I am encouraging you deeply to please get a copy of the book, Judgment Detox, because it will absolutely, her wisdom, her information in there, some of it will be very new to you, as it was to me, as I thought I had kind of this spiritual game, pretty much, handled after 23 years. But nope, it's took me to a whole new level, right? And I know it will for you too. So be aware of, here's some potential judgment that's going to show up, either while you're listening to me today or before you decide to purchase the book. So here's what potentially could, right, show up as a response, right, to this recommendation. And that is, here's one. Oh, interesting. I never thought of it in that light, right? Clever title, Judgment Detox. I'll take the recommendation and I'll buy it. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's one response to what I'm sharing. The next one is, oh, good for Marla, I'm glad for her, right? I'm good, maybe later, right? Well, that's either a judgment, right, that you don't need it, and thank you, ego, for doing that. You don't need that, right? You don't need to evolve. Or you truthfully just may not be ready for that, just like I wasn't when I first bought it 7 months ago, is that, and by the way, it was probably ego, is that I wasn't ready, right? The student wasn't ready. So that's number 2 response. Number 3 is, oh, I should tell so-and-so about this. You know, I probably don't need this, but fill in the blank, so-and-so does. That's pure judgment, right? That's an absolute pure judgment on someone else needs it, I don't, right? So there are times that we, man, whether it's gossip, whether it's, oh, I don't need that, but somebody else does, or whatever that judgment happens to be, those are the things that are going to be brought to light to be healed and to help you be more aware and conscious of in your life. As a result of it, we live in a higher vibration. We manifest, because by the way, people, we only manifest when we're in a higher vibration, right? We don't manifest that which we desire and want, and good fortune, and you name it, health, happiness, when we're in a low vibration, right? Fear, worry, doubt, distrust, right? Negativity, you name it. That's a low vibration, and it's going to attract more of that. All right. So on a final note is that I bless you. I support you in your healing. The path to enlightenment is the healing, right? That's how we literally grow spiritually, is we face that part of ourself, that, if you will, shadow side of ourself, which is ego. And we look at what needs to be healed, and we're courageous and brave enough to go through that, to go through the healing, to get to the other side, which is enlightenment. All right. So I call it a welcoming back to home. So welcome back home for those of you that choose to take this recommendation and or pass it on to others. And I wish you a fantastic day and blessed rest of the year. Take care.